The transfer portal just keeps on rolling. And we did this exercise a few weeks ago, talking about our predictions for where some of these guys may be ending up. Now, full disclaimer, these are predictions. These are not inside information. This is not me kind of holding the answer behind my back and then revealing to y'all in the form of a prediction. Like, I am purely guessing. So this is no like knowledge that I have around this that I'm trying to bake into a segment here. Purely predictions. And we did this previously. We've done okay since then. There's a couple more guys that I want to mention here that we talked about in our first volume. I have since changed my prediction on where I think they will be headed. One of those individuals that I'm switching my prediction on is Washington State quarterback, former Washington State quarterback Cam Ward. Previously, I had predicted Cam Ward to go to Ohio State. Now, just to be real, there hasn't been much smoke around that, but what there has been some smoke around is Cam Ward to Miami, and that is the prediction I'm going to roll with here. So much smoke, there has to be fire in Cam Ward going to the U. They had Cam Ward to the U trending on Twitter. If that isn't just the beauty of college football social media, I don't know what is. However many thousand different people coming together from all walks of life to try and accomplish one common goal, which is getting Cam Ward to Coral Gables. I think his skill set would fit really well with what they want to do offensively. Shannon Dawson, when he came to Miami, the thought around his offense was it's going to be a little bit more of an aerial attack, more of a push the ball downfield kind of offense. And to be real, they wanted to be that way early. They were able to be that team against Texas A&M. But throughout the course of the season, what they didn't have at quarterback kind of hindered that approach. Cam Ward and what he does offensively, 7.7 yards an attempt at Washington State. You can run that kind of style of offense. So it's a fit for Miami. It's a fit for Cam Ward because I think he probably wants to do numbers like Goodwill Hunting his last season in college before he goes to the NFL. Miami and what they will be able to do with Shannon Dawson offensively and Cam Ward running the show, I think it's a good fit. I like Cam Ward. I'm going to go ahead and change my prediction for Cam Ward to Miami. So we'll see what happens there, but we're calling our shot. Another cat we're changing our prediction on, Will Howard, formerly of Kansas State. Another guy that's one of the top quarterbacks in the transfer portal. USC was my original prediction for him. And for the longest time, like I was watching that thing, it's USC, all the smoke. You even have some social media accounts out there tweeting that he's set to commit to USC. And we're getting further and further into this thing. It still hasn't happened yet. And for me, I'm like, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. That's the way I feel about it. Also, I don't know if y'all saw last night, but Heise Miller, as I like to call him right now, Miller Moss. I'm joking, all right, so everybody calm down. But he did just ball out last night in the Holiday Bowl against Louisville. My guy was slinging the pill around the arm like a shady pharmacist. 6 touchdowns on the night for number 7. You don't think maybe there's just a little bit of a second thought for Lincoln Riley and company in Los Angeles that maybe, just maybe, Miller Moss is going to be in this QB1 conversation when spring ball rolls around? Now, full transparency, I think Will Howard still could very much so beat out a Miller Moss should he decide to take his talents to Los Angeles. But I'm going to change my pick to another spot that's getting some smoke as of late. Pete Nakos reporting that Ohio State is involved with Will Howard. I'm going to change my prediction for Will Howard to end up choosing Ohio State and to end up there. And again, if USC was the choice, I think it would have happened already. But Will Howard, I believe, did say that when he entered the portal, one of his priorities was to win. You look at stability, look at structure. Ohio State, I mean, you can pretty much bankroll every single offseason or every single preseason. When those win totals come out, they'll be somewhere in the double-digit category. Now, USC could very much so be that as well, but there's a little more question marks around what they've been defensively, what's going on with Lincoln Riley. You know, they had all these expectations this past offseason, didn't have the season they wanted to have. Ohio State, the stability and the structure and the unofficial official standard that Ryan Day has set in Columbus for his quarterbacks, which is be a first-round draft pick, be a Heisman finalist. More often than not, that's what you've seen from Ohio State quarterbacks. So I think for Will Howard, if you want to set yourself up for success in the NFL, Lincoln Riley makes a lot of sense, but Ohio State makes just as much sense, in my opinion, based on what's around him. You know you'll have some of the top pass catchers in the country at your disposal. I like the fit. I like the fit a whole lot. Now, this would also be massive for Ohio State. And the reason why I say that is, for Ohio State, the last couple of seasons, they have fallen short of the goal, which is to beat Michigan. And it's sort of been a blame you could assign across the board with that roster. It's not just one guy that's at fault. But one thing that stuck out when you watch Ohio State going 0 for 3 their last 3 tries against Michigan has been what they don't have at quarterback. Now, they don't have somebody that can throw the ball downfield. C.J. Stroud, what he's doing in the NFL, I think is proof of concept that they can be just fine throwing the ball downfield. But when you look at what they don't have at the quarterback position, they don't have somebody that has that mobile element. Whereas for Michigan, I'm watching J.J. McCarthy run back and forth and play Pirates of the Caribbean, it feels like, every other third down, and running right, throwing left, picking up a 3rd and 6 by getting 7 yards. I don't know that they need to match that, but I do think it's something you would like to have going forward in the modern college football era. You got to have somebody that can account for you on the ground. Will Howard, 19 career rushing touchdowns. So I think that would also be a massive boost, not just for what he brings from a skill standpoint and from a experience standpoint. He's played 4 years of college football, but going back to what I just said, the mobile element he brings to Ohio State could be that difference maker against teams like Michigan with really staunch defenses. So keep an eye on that. We'll call our shot, Will Howard to Ohio State. Now, the top player available in the transfer portal is none other than Texas A&M wide receiver Evan Stewart. And Evan Stewart had 91 catches, over 1,100 yards, and 6 touchdowns in 2 seasons in College Station. There's a reason why he's very highly sought after. Pete Nakos from On3 has been as dialed in as it gets when it comes to the transfer portal. The schools that he says to watch are Oregon, Ole Miss, USC, and Florida State. But there's one more school that he mentioned that I think makes a ton of sense. I'm going to go ahead and call my shot here for Evan Stewart to Tennessee. Couple of reasons why I see this being a good fit. The first of which being you get to stay in the SEC. This is not the only school that is in the Evan Stewart sweepstakes in the SEC, but it makes a lot of sense to me to stay in that conference because you play against NFL junior kind of competition. When it comes time for him to be drafted, there will be no questions about the level of competition he played against staying in this conference. Okay, you can run that resume through any filter you want to, that game tape through any filter you want to. He did it against the top dudes in the country. That's first part. Other part of this is I think you probably have to have a quarterback wherever you end up going if you're Evan Stewart. And to me, that not eliminates, but provides some more question marks for some of these other schools. We'll see what happens at Florida State. We'll see what happens at USC. We'll see what happens at Ole Miss. I expect Jackson Dart to come back, but we'll see what happens there long term. Oregon, you feel good about who they have at quarterback there with Dylan Gabriel. But I do think that narrows the list a little bit. And with Tennessee having the top quarterback from the 2023 class and Nico Iamaleava, that to me would make a lot of sense from Evan Stewart. I want to go play with a dude who can get me the football consistently. Now, the last thing, and this is probably the most important when we talk about Evan Stewart, I think Evan Stewart goes to Tennessee because of how he would fit in that offense. Now, make no mistake, Evan Stewart could fit anywhere. But in terms of maximizing his ability, what does Evan Stewart do best? From me just watching college football on Saturdays, Evan Stewart is a matchup winner. He can beat you on the edge with speed. He can beat you one-on-one with his agility and elusiveness. He can win one-on-one when that ball's in the air. More likely than not, it is Evan Stewart's football. For someone else, 50-50, Evan Stewart's like 85-15, 80-20. If you win your matchup in this Tennessee offense under Josh Heupel, you're either scoring a touchdown or having a massive chunk play. Now, you got to have a quarterback to do it. Nico Iamaleava, I believe, is that guy to do it for Evan Stewart. But I'm just saying, I think the numbers you can put up in the SEC and Tennessee's offense, I watched what Jalen Hyatt did from Evan Stewart. Different kind of player, same offense. I would like that a lot if I'm Evan Stewart. I think that to me would be a tremendous fit for both sides of that. Tennessee getting one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the portal. And then Tennessee and Evan Stewart getting a great fit in terms of what he can do production-wise in Knoxville. So I'll go ahead and call my shot there. A couple of the guys we got to get to here. How about A.J. Harris? Remember A.J. Harris? He was a top 3 corner in the class of 2023, was formerly at Georgia, has since hit the portal. I think Auburn makes a lot of sense here. Auburn is the school that's had the most smoke around landing A.J. Harris. He's also from Alabama. Now, I can't prove any of this. This is how I feel, though, just having played college football, having been to college, and having seen the portal a few rounds now. Anytime you get a young guy jumping in the portal, if you're a freshman, that first semester, that first year away from home, man, like typically it is pretty appealing to at least play with the idea of going back and being close to family, being close to friends. Not that Georgia is light years away from Alabama, but I just mean being in Auburn and being closer to that. I would like that fit. Again, what we said about Evan Stewart playing in the SEC, I think matters for a lot of these guys as they want to probably give themselves the best chance to play at the next level. There's also probably going to be a fair amount of opportunity on the Auburn defense for A.J. Harris. One more guy I want to get to here, USC corner Damani Jackson. was a top 5 recruit in the class of 2022. He has since hit the portal. Sounds like it's down to Michigan and Bama. I think you can tell Nick Saban no one time if you were in the secondary. And it sounds like he did that out of high school to Demonte Jackson. I don't know if you do that twice. So I think Alabama, with that secondary being Nick Saban's baby, if I'm in the portal and I want to go play in the NFL after I finish up playing in college, like there's really one spot. Not there's only one spot, but there's really one spot where you're going to get tutelage from the GOAT, compete for national titles, the structure in place to propel you to the NFL. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I think is the spot if you're Demonte Jackson. So I'll go ahead and call my shot for him to end up transferring to Alabama. So that's our second volume of the portal predictions. A couple other guys we didn't really mention there. I'll mention one more. DJ Uiagalelei. I think Florida State would make sense by nature of Cam Ward if he goes to Miami. Now, if he doesn't go to Miami, he goes to Florida State. We'll revisit that when it gets here. But those are our portal predictions for Volume 2. Again, we're calling our shot here. This isn't me reporting on anything. This isn't me telling you where this guy is going. I am purely speculating, and I think those are where those cats would end up. And curious to hear from y'all. So get at me in the comment section. Get at me in the live chat. Let me know where y'all think these guys are going to end up at. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.